Captain Marcus Chen had survived 3 war campaigns, 2 crash landings, and a mutiny on the Outer Rim. But nothing in his decorated military career had prepared him for waking up with a 7-foot-tall alien princess curled against his chest. The diplomatic quarters aboard the Meridian Dawn were modest, a narrow bunk, a recycled air vent that hummed too loudly, and walls thin enough that he could hear Ensign Rodriguez snoring next door. Marcus had collapsed into bed after 18 hours of negotiations with the Velcorian delegation, too exhausted to even remove his boots. He'd been alone. He was certain of that. Now pale blue skin pressed against his tactical vest, and crystalline hair the color of moonlight spilled across his arm. Princess Thelvara of the Velcorian ascendancy was breathing softly, her elegant features peaceful in sleep. Her hand, 4-fingered and tipped with what looked like natural armor, rested on his shoulder. Marcus froze. One wrong move could spark an interstellar incident. The Velcorians were humanity's most powerful potential ally against the Krill swarm. But they were also notoriously rigid about protocol and personal space. Their culture viewed physical contact as sacred, reserved only for family and bonded pairs. His mind raced through possibilities. Had someone drugged him? Was this an assassination attempt disguised as a scandal? A test of human character? The Velcorians were known for their elaborate psychological evaluations. Thelvara stirred, her eyes, triple-lidded and amber, flickering open. For a moment she seemed confused. Then her gaze focused on Marcus, and something like recognition passed across her alien features. "You are still here," she whispered in flawless English, though her voice carried harmonic overtones that human vocal cords couldn't produce. "I was uncertain if humans could anchor." "Your Highness," Marcus said carefully, not moving. "I think there's been some kind of mistake." "No mistake. Captain Chen." She sat up slowly, her formal diplomatic robes shimmering with embedded circuitry. Despite her obvious discomfort, she maintained perfect poise. "I came here deliberately, though I admit I did not intend to." She searched for the word, "sleep." Marcus sat up as well, keeping his hands visible and non-threatening. "Maybe you should explain. Because right now I'm calculating how many ways this could end my career, or start a war." The princess's expression shifted, something between amusement and sorrow. "Your species is still learning that the universe is not always hostile. Tell me, Captain, what do you know of Velcorian neural architecture?" "Only what's in the briefings. Your people are empathic, connected to each other through something like a psychic network. The communion, you call it." "Precisely." Thelvara stood, moving to the small viewport that showed the sweep of stars beyond. "We are never truly alone. From birth, we exist in a sea of consciousness, feeling the emotions, sensing the presence of thousands of our kind at any given moment. It is beautiful. It is also exhausting." She turned back to face him, and Marcus saw something in her eyes he recognized. The weariness of command, the weight of responsibility that never lifted. "When I was young," she continued, "I learned that certain species could provide what we call neural silence, beings whose minds we cannot touch, who exist in perfect solitude. It is profoundly disturbing to most Velcorians. But for some of us," she paused, "for those of us who carry great burdens, who must make decisions that affect billions, that silence is not disturbing. It is peace." Understanding dawned on Marcus. "You can't sense humans. We're blind spots in your communion." "Yes. And last night, after hours of feeling the anxiety of my advisors, the ambition of the nobles, the fear of my people regarding the Krill advance, I found myself drawn to this section of the ship. To your quarters." She looked down at her hands. "I intended only to stand outside your door for a moment, to experience true quiet, but the silence was so profound, so healing that I do not fully remember entering, only that I felt safe for the first time in years." Marcus stood, understanding the vulnerability in her confession. "In my culture, we'd call that trust. The ability to let your guard down, to actually rest." "Trust," Thelvara repeated, testing the word. "Yes, that is accurate." A chime sounded, the door alert. They both tensed. "Captain Chen," came Admiral Petrov's gruff voice through the comm. "We need you in conference room Alpha in 20 minutes. The Velcorians have requested an emergency session." Marcus looked at Thelvara, who had already composed herself into the perfect mask of royal dignity. I must confess this incident to my advisors, she said quietly. They will demand an explanation. They will likely recommend severing the alliance. Or, Marcus said, an idea forming, we tell them the truth, that humans offer something the Velcorians didn't know they needed, not just military strength or technological trade, but sanctuary, a place where your leaders, your warriors, your exhausted can find actual rest. The princess tilted her head, considering. You would formalize this? Make humanity's neural silence an asset rather than a liability? Why not? You said it yourself, your people carry enormous burdens. If being around humans gives some of you relief, that's not a weakness. That's a strategic advantage for both our species. A genuine smile crossed Thelvara's face, the first human expression Marcus had seen her make. Captain Chen, I begin to understand why your species has survived so long against such overwhelming odds. You possess a remarkable ability to turn vulnerabilities into strengths. We call it improvisation, Marcus grinned. Or more accurately, humanity, fuck yeah. 3 hours later in Conference Room Alpha, Princess Thelvara stood before the combined human and Velcorian delegations. She explained the concept of neural silence, the toll of the communion, and her unauthorized visit to the captain's quarters. She proposed a new clause in the Alliance Treaty, exchange programs where Velcorian officials could spend time among human populations, and certain humans would be trained as silence keepers, companions for those who needed respite from the communion. The Velcorian nobles were shocked. The human admirals were confused. But when Thelvara played her final card, revealing that her newfound clarity had allowed her to devise a breakthrough strategy against the Krill swarm, both sides listened. The alliance was signed that evening, and when Captain Marcus Chen finally returned to his quarters, he found a small crystal on his bunk, a Velcorian token of deep respect, given only to those who had saved a life. He smiled, setting it on his shelf next to his medals. Just another day of humanity punching above its weight class, not through firepower or technology, but through the simple gift of silence in a noisy universe. Sometimes the greatest weapon was just being able to let someone finally, truly, rest.